Evening, Janke. Well, the judge holding the mother responsible, for the child's death, even though she wasn't really convicted of murder.
Yes, they found that she basically turned a blind eye to what was going on. We heard from the judge saying that if you looked at the injuries, the extent of the injuries, if you listen to some of the medical reports indicating that a lot of the injuries were actually older than the ones for which they actually got attention for at that moment, they're saying that basically baby Daniel was abused for most of his life. It wasn't just that time when he was burnt in hot water. It wasn't just the time that he apparently fell out of a tree and broke his elbow. They're saying that this was something that the mother should have known because he was only 3 years old, but they say for most of that time he was being abused. And
as a result, Mrombetsi urging parents who find themselves in similar situations to actually, do something about their plight, not just sit there when other, especially children's lives, are under threat.
Well, what definitely came out in court as well is the strained relationship between these two. There was obviously a lot of fighting, some instances of aggression from the then boyfriend towards the mother. But basically what they're saying is that her silence killed her child, because they did mention that she was at some stage scared for her own life during this time, and that's why she might not have said something. But at the end of the day, as we heard, that if she did say something, baby Daniel might still be alive today because, for example, we heard from the accused number 2, which is the former boyfriend. He was saying, for example, that baby Daniel fell into a hot bathtub at that stage, and then later he took him out. He seemed fine. He put on a little bit of ointment and he went to bed. And we understand that after that, the mother then did go to check on baby Daniel, but she said that he said that he was fine, and everything seems to be fine, which doesn't add up if you listen to the rest of it, because the next morning baby Daniel was not breathing, and they ran out, tried to perform CPR on him, and that's what we heard from the defence's side, where they're saying some of the injuries came from. But they're saying, for example, the rib was the lower rib. It could not have been because of CPR, and all the injuries we understand was because was inflicted when baby Daniel was still alive. So it's obviously extensive injuries, broken bones, blunt force trauma to his head, and then we know 60% of burn wounds all over his body that they say was really the water or the liquid that was used. For example, they said it had to be scalding hot. They said it had to be extremely painful to dress him afterwards, but somehow they say that they didn't realize that it was that bad at that stage.
Now, a lot of organizations that, of course, care about children have been part of, this whole trial, going to court almost all the time. What do they have to say today, both about the verdict, but also about what they believe people should do to avoid such situations happening again?
Well, we saw, especially women and men against child abuse being present in this case throughout, I understand, but especially today they came out in their numbers. They wanted a murder conviction for both accused. They said that the mother was complicit in the murder, and therefore she should also face a murder charge. So obviously they are happy with the charge of abuse, or the judgment where it was found that the man was guilty of murder and abuse. But as you'll hear in the clip now, I spoke to one of their representatives, and they're saying that they still believe that she should also have faced a conviction of murder because, again, she didn't speak out and she let this happen.
That she has walked away with just gross or deliberate negligence is unacceptable. We will definitely be looking at this in the new year. Should the state decide to pursue an appeal, we will definitely be supporting that. And if she gets a sentence less than 20 years, because on the counts under Section 305, she could get up to 20 years. Should she not get that, we will definitely be looking at taking this further as an organisation. So we have been monitoring since the beginning. It has been horrendous as a human being, as a mother, and I think for mothers and fathers out there who love and care for their children to hear what these people did, how they brutalized this little child. I can only imagine must have been a living hell. I hope they rot in hell. That is all that I'd like for them. I think it's a little comfort for what he must have been through, but I'm hoping that a strong sentence in January will send a very clear message.
When is sentencing?
Well, it's not been confirmed yet. We do know that the mother, she was out on bail after today's judgment. She is now being held in custody until tomorrow. She has a bail application tomorrow. And then we are back in court on the 21st of January, not necessarily for sentencing to begin. There's still some reports that they say are outstanding that need to be part of the process. So we're basically going to have a check-in on the 21st of January to see where all these reports are. And then from then, the sentencing will go ahead.
Okay, thanks very much. Janke Tolmie was in a court today where baby Daniel's mother was found guilty on 2 counts of neglect, and the mother's then boyfriend and stepfather to the child was found guilty of murder.